Still, we have 250 attendees that are watching us live. So the mic is yours. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. So once again, I'm Alex, a co-founder of eSputnik marketing automation platform. We help online businesses to fulfill their real-time omni-channel strategies, to grow their sales and engagement from their customers. And I'm very happy to be here with you. And the topic I'm going to share with you is how to actually launch an omni-channel strategy and not to go crazy. Why is it so important? Well, first of all, I want to cover some questions about what actually is omni-channel and what are the trends now, and how do we know that this really is like efficient omni-channel strategy. And also we will talk about some obstacles that we usually see when people try to implement it and how to overcome them. So I'll be really happy if 250 guys of you will find at least one good idea about what to implement in your business, how to improve it, and you will take it out of my presentation. So first of all, speaking about trends, that's like quite a funny thing that last year in Boston at Litmus conference, which is like biggest probably now the conference dedicated to email design and all related topics. Like I guess three of like several presentations started with a similar picture, and everyone was asking whether email is dead or is it still alive. And it was really funny because everybody had the same picture with zombies following you. And yeah, but the main idea is, despite we question email as a channel of communication, it's actually now when we all the world goes through very difficult processes of dealing with very, very difficult problem. I mean, coronavirus and self-isolation drops down brick and mortar sales. Then actually cost-efficient channel, and email is the most cost-efficient channel among everything. It really makes it a king now. That's my personal opinion. But what about omnichannel? Yeah, email is really cool, but it works best when it works with other tools altogether. So I want to share with you some trends that are probably the most important trends now, not only in email, but in general in omni-channel marketing. So first of all, there are four main trends, and personalization is a trend that was a trend probably 20 years ago, and probably 20 years after that it will still be a very important thing. Another thing is an important trend is interactivity in all the channels, and of course omni-channel communications. So let's start with the first. What actually is personalization? Like most of modern and best brands actually leverage on the data they know about me. So they give me suggestions on Netflix, they know what music I like, they know that I was traveling to Carmel, and they offered me something that was really important for me that moment of time. And of course they use all the history of my previous behavior to personalize content that I consume. So the personalization is usually perceived as a right communication. And it's built out of following four rules, or rules of 4 R's. Or sometimes, if you have good imagination, you have some other R's like right context, right situation, and so on. So the good communication is when you have right person, right message, sent in right time, and through the right channel. That's what personalization is. So let's look at the next trend. So what's interactivity is? Well, currently probably some of you know that Google, Microsoft, Yahoo, and Mail.ru all together supported a new technology for email. So actually you can send not just HTML version of email, but also AMP HTML version, which helps you to create like really amazing experience for your recipients. I'll give you some examples. Like here is an example of how Pinterest can help you browse inside different recipes that you looked for right inside your email. Another thing is how Booking.com helps you to select the proper house for your recommendation right from email. Another example, you can actually not just browse accommodations, but also select the time, check availability, and even reserve it right from email. And another example, let's keep on moving. Some numbers from OA Travel, for example, they see a lot higher conversion, like 60% plus, because of interactivity. Another example that you probably could receive if you use this tool, striper.email, which I highly recommend if you want and you like interactivity and want to try it for your business, no matter what actually ESP you use for sending emails. You can create template with Striper and then use it anywhere. So like really recommend. So if you want to create dynamic emails and follow this trend, please visit the website of striper.email. They have very good comprehensive explanation how to do it. The core here is just you can use small limited JavaScripts inside email. So that's why they look like a website inside your inbox. And the next, the last but not the least, Omnichannel trend. So what's so cool about it and what it gives you? But let's start with understanding the real difference between single channel communication, multi-channel, and omni-channel. Well, it's quite easy to understand that single channel is just one channel of communication. Typically it's email, but sometimes it's just call center or text messaging or a chatbot. It could be anything. The multi-channel is the case when brand communicates through different channels, but typically it's the situation when you use them independently. Your website doesn't know about what you did and what you clicked in email. Email doesn't know that recently you received a call from a customer success team and you were not satisfied. Or for example, so every channel is independent here. They don't talk to each other. The omnichannel approach puts person in the middle of communication. And here, all the channels start working together, exchanging information and knowing what happened. Like, for example, you will not send thank you for your purchase email if you received a call on a call center where you said that you were not satisfied with the last purchase. Or your website will behave differently depending on the information we know about you, and your email campaign will include information about what you've browsed for, what you liked, what you followed, what you added to your wish list. So everything has to be changed depending on what we know. And yeah, this story is really worth trying, because according to Litmus research, when you use more than 3 channels, in numbers, it looks like this. It gives you 2.5 more times more engagement and purchases. It gives you 13% increase in average revenue, and it's plus 90% in retention rates. So it really worth trying to do the real omnichannel experience. But how to do that? You know, how can we do this so that when we send web push notification and people click on it? So how do we change our website behavior because of it? Or when somebody uses your mobile application on iOS, then how should I change my offering on a website? Maybe I should put on some Apple products on the first place in this case instead of some other products. How can we do this? The only key is to automate processes. And to automate those processes, we built different, quite complicated technologies so we can really automate those processes. And now I'd like to share with you some scheme which in a very big picture shows you how those automation processes work in real life. Like, first of all, there are data sources. The data is something that all the personalization, automation, and interactivity build on. This data could be from different sources. Let's get back to it a little later. Then some platform gives you data, and it works with this data and gives you some analytical reports. Those reports help you to build insights and understand what's going on with your customers that influences your business processes. On the other hand, you can also not just analyze this data, but also act upon this data. So you send messaging, of course, following 4R rules. The customers are happy and they give money to business. Let's get back to data. So usually the data is possessed by different teams. The sales team works with CRM. They know sales, I don't know, some numbers of amount of sales and so on. Your support team they exploit some ticketing system. So when you call them and say that you have some problem, support team has their own system. Of course, marketing automation platforms in use, and that's a third different platform. All of these data sources have to be somehow combined all together. On this data, like I said, we have two main options to do. So first of all, it's analytical level. So when we gather all the data together, we understand who are engaged, who are level, we should use actions, actually act upon this data. What customer data is? Typically, there are several identifiers of a customer that have to be gathered together in one unified profile. We separate two types of identifiers. Long-term identifiers like email or phone number. They actually work for a long time. Even if you change your mobile phone or change from a laptop to tablet, you still use the same email and you still use the same phone number. Web push tokens, mobile push token, session ID, or cookie files, those are short-term identifiers. Still want to have them all together because you need to know that this particular person on the website, it was the same person that recently received email, right? And in email, he clicked on a link with some specific brand. So the next type of data is behavioral data. So we want to know what's his shopping history, what campaigns he participated in, what's his location, and so on. All of this data we can gather from different data sources. So we should have connectors to different data sources, and also the platform you use should be able to send out this data so it would be able to share this data with other platforms. So going deeper here, as a platform, we usually use ESP, and ESP used to be an email service provider. Now this acronym is opened like every channel service provider. Or another great acronym is CDP, very popular term now. Probably you are familiar with it because in advertising, it's one of the fields and areas where CDPs are very well performing. So customer data platform, which is specialized tool for managing customer data. So what's inside those tools typically? First of all is segmentation. Segmenting helps us to create some particular targeted groups that we want to communicate with them in some different way. Like for example, for browser language equals English, and people who view product category smartphones, but exclude those who made online orders for the last 30 days. This gives you a segment of people who are interested in smartphones but didn't make the purchase yet. The next thing, automation. And when we speak about automation, the micro-segments is a key to automation, because when you create a segment and you make this segment dynamic, so it recalculates every hour, for example, then automatically, when somebody fits the rules or conditions that you've used for this segment can automatically start a new sequence of messages for this person. Messaging has to be personalized, and let's look about how message should look like. First of all, modern email templating tools should be modular, which means that you can use the whole module and reuse it several times. Also, another thing, not only drag and drop, but also it has to be adjustable. So modular design helps you to separate two layers: layer of design, where you can set up fonts, colors, images, and so on, separated from the data that will actually be put inside those modules. Another personalization strategy is to be able to use inside your email. So when you design your email, you should be able to connect some external data source, like we mentioned before, to make this email this personalized block inside of it, like last viewed products or people who are similar to this person, what they like. We'll get back a little later to those recommendational platforms. And all these recommendation platforms, there should be a lot of them, like different recommendations could be used for different purposes. And finally, when we create a message, we want to use this message across different channels. And here is a kind of approach that I like. One rule to rule them all. So independently to which particular channel we will use in this case, for this person, it still should be able to use the same logic that we do for emails, for web push notifications, for pop-ups on a website. It should be able to get the same data and implement it inside this kind of message. So web push or in-app push or mobile push should all be the same, should inherit the same logic as another channels. So independently to channel, the logic, what kind of data we want to put in this channel, has to be the same. So after that, you can build like really simple sequence here, like send web push notifications and wait for a while and then check whether it was delivered or not. If it was not delivered throughout 20 minutes, let's try another channel. Let's send him mobile push notifications and again wait for a while and then check whether it was opened or not. Then wait and then send email, for example. And if like we really want to cover as much and get as much attention as possible, we will escalate it to even more expensive channel like text message or chat, and then we'll continue communication. So we've looked through a lot of different techniques that have to be in place so you could do like real omni-channel strategy. So you want to ask me how exactly we do it and not go crazy, because it's like kind of complicated, right? I want to share with you some like really simple and interesting approach that we do. So look at this equation. You probably remember it from school. On algebra, we all had to do similar tasks. When you have this complicated, really difficult equation, and you have somehow to simplify it. Isn't it the same when we speak about omni-channel strategy? It's complicated. It has a lot of different aspects and a lot of different factors to be involved. How do we make it simple and clear for understanding? For those who like mathematics, they probably already know the answer. But the strategy that we apply in algebra here is to factor out common factors. So we look at all the elements of this equation and look for something which is the same for every element. Like here we have A everywhere, we have B everywhere, and we have C everywhere. So let's have a look how can we simplify it. So after that, we can remove from the brackets something similar and common for all of the elements, and the same do with the lower part. After that, you can really simplify the situation. You will remove everything, and finally you get very simple, clear, and easy to use equation when you have just several factors, not intersecting and not overcomplicating everything. Yeah, it's good with math, right? But what about omnichannel strategy? How can we factor out something out of it? Let's look at some examples. So first, let's try to factor out the channel itself. So when you build such strategy, like we looked at it before, one of the something that we attempt to do is to make, like I said, same approach to design and same approach to personalize messages. The same rule has to be applied to every channel. So if you build a segment, independently to what kind of long-term or short-term identifiers we have, we can just broadcast to the segment, and depending on what channels people have, they will receive this message in the channels that we already have. Let's try to factor out time. Instead of imagine you have such a complicated workflow, a lot of splits and reactions, and wait for a while, wait for a few minutes. You can go crazy just because you have to check whether you always made prepared, so all your triggers go only in business time. So you don't actually want to disturb your people in the middle of the night just because your trigger worked out 8 hours ago and you waited for 8 hours. So instead of thinking about how all the sequences will work and whether so you don't disturb your people in the wrong time, you just set up in one place all the rules when you want all your messages to be sent out. And if it's not a proper time, so trigger worked, now let's remind him about abandoned cart, but it's night. So it will just, this message will be just put in queue and will be sent out the following day. Everybody's happy and you don't have to think about it. Another thing, let's factor out languages. Here in European Union, we have a lot of languages. And if you work across several countries, you want to work with every message. So for example, when you want to create message, let's put language apart. So message itself is welcome message, for example, but it has several language variations. So when you build campaign or you analyze, it's still the same welcome message. Just for those who speak Bulgarian, they will receive it in Bulgarian. Those who speak in English, they will receive it in English. And the same approach for everything. Like welcome is welcome with different language version. Abandoned cart is abandoned cart, but in different language versions. The same detailed reporting goes for all the languages. So we can analyze the campaign in general, but also we can analyze it by languages. Another thing, let's factor out messaging frequency. You know, quite often we try to build segments and try to communicate with them with different frequency. Like for example, it's a quite typical approach. So for engaged people, they probably would open every email you send them, even if you send several emails per day. Like for, I don't know, if you are familiar, there are this is kind of online selling like flash sales. And those sites, they send several times a day. And how to set this up so you would really not break the rule. So you can set up segments, and for each segment to set up a rule, what message types, how often should be sent. So even if you as a marketer by mistake send to bad readers daily message, it will not be delivered. So you automatically just remove this pain from your head, and you just set up the rules that work across all your omni-channel campaign strategy. let's try to factor out design as well. Like I already spoke about modular design, and that is something that helps you to improve a lot and ease the process of design, because you just use the same template but substitute it with different data. And another cool thing, like amazing thing, I would say, is synchronized modules. Like for example, when we have what was the last big occasion for sending? It was like for St. Valentine's Day. Yeah, St. Valentine's Day. Every marketer knows that in order to improve their sales, they have to change the logo of a company. Yeah, you should add flowers or hearts, so the branding would fit the mood of a customer right now. But for email marketer or anybody who does campaigns on your site, it's like really pain in the ass, because imagine like about 40 triggered messaging you have. You have abandoned cart, you have welcome, you have onboarding sequence, you have a lot of messages. All of them you have to open, change logo, save it, and add it to your campaign bag. So instead of it, we offer to use this module that once you change it, it changes in all messages that inherit this logo. Like for example, you change header, and it changes across all your emails. And the last example is how to factor out some content. So how to put some content out of braces. Here's an example when you connect your recommendational engine, could be any engine you use, but you can also have to be able to adjust it. Like imagine when we will all finish and successfully survive this coronavirus. Every website will have really twisted imagination about what people really like, because top products will be masks, sanitizers, and what else, gloves, and so on. So how do you change it? You have to be able to manually adjust all the recommendations that the product recommendation engine gives you. Like for example, here you can also set up that for products, like here we sell mattresses, and for mattresses we want to, like if they are expensive, I really don't want this product for just $199 to be among the recommendations. So I can set up a rule, hide those offerings that price is lower than, I don't know, 1,000 euro or something. So those were examples when you can use some rule and put it on a higher level. So the whole process of omnichannel campaigns will become a lot easier. So factoring out different aspects of omnichannel strategy, I believe, is a key to building it transparent and clear and easy to implement. So with this, you can deliver right message to right people, right time, right channel, and build your omnichannel campaigns. I actually have everything finished, but also I wanted to share with you some ideas about how your strategy should be changed due to coronavirus. And I have several examples here and several rules to follow, so your marketing and messaging marketing would be really well fine. So first of all, notify people only about like really important updates. You don't want to send them just occasional messages. It has to be something really important. Another good example from Campaign Monitor is even suggest you to pause your email campaigns for a period of time. Like it really might be not relevant for you now if your brand is your brand has to care about people now. We are like really overwhelmed with different information. So it's a good practice just to offer people, if you want to just pause our campaigns for a while. Another example of a care is to care about people's feeling, those terrible situations that anybody could be. So this is an example how the Telegraph offered for those people who are like really sensitive about some other questions and mother situations could opt out from any messaging about Mother's Day from this brand. And another example is bring everything, every information with a smile. So this is like a great example of when you just share some positive attitude and being good. So it's really important now to support people. Sorry. And we've prepared a collection of different rules that you should follow in order for your email marketing would be effective, and some good practices and examples that brands use now, so you could like really adjust your campaigns to like the current situation. And we have a great blog post where we collected all those recommendations and all of the brands, how they react and what they do, and how you should, so you can get inspired by this example, so you would really have some good ideas about how to improve your campaigns throughout this period of time. And I guess that's all for now. And I'm super happy to answer your questions if you have some.
Hey, Alex. Thank you for these slides, for this presentation. Maybe the last slide with your contacts is missing.
Sorry?
There are no slide with your contacts.
I'll try to move to the very beginning then.
So, one question we have from Aleksey Danchenko. First, great presentation. Could you please share with us what are your must-have softwares, platforms, to be able to launch an omni-channel strategy?
You really...
it's time to promote.
To be honest, I prefer the one with this emblem that I present, but you know, every situation and every business have his own best tool. Like, for example, there are some cases when for you the best solution would be like as easy as possible. And if you want to start with an easy solution, then there are a lot of them. But then you gradually grow and you want to have more and more options. You want to have recommendation engine. You want to have website tracking. You want to use several channels instead of just one. And in this case, you have to look at something that offers broader experience. I would just say that what we try to build with our platform is to give you as good as enterprise level products, but simplified in the way that even SMB could make use out of it. And that's how we work with it. But you have to compare them.
One second, you just dropped off.
Okay, I'm still here.
Yes, you're still here. You can continue, please.
Yeah, like I said, the best platform is the best for a particular brand, particular situation. Whether you have enough team members that are experienced or not. So to start with, I would definitely recommend to look at our platform, because the way we do it, we do it so that anybody could start using and benefit from behavioral marketing and data-driven marketing like really easily.
Okay, Alex, and one question from me. What is your opinion about the future of push notification? Do you think that Google Chrome is going to block it in the future or something like that?
I think no, because as you probably know, they were designed in the way that web applications could work could communicate with the customers even in background. And mainly, the push notifications were designed for notifying you, like triggered notifications, not promotionals. So, and that is why I think the limitations that currently and quite recently were released about subscriptions and about how web push notification works, I think it's like really good move actually, because if you, I don't know if you're familiar with the recent changes, it's expected that we will have our own reputation as web push senders. So it will be the same as now it works for Gmail. So if you send campaigns and nobody opens it, then Gmail will put it on a spam folder, just because your people don't like your messages. And that is the best signal for them to reduce your reputations. The same thing will be applied for web push senders. And it will gradually improve the situation, because only brands that really bring some benefit to their recipients will have good reputation, because only those messages will be opened. So web push notifications will become better after Google will implement some measurement to reputation on Gmail.
Thank you. And we had a short dialogue with you about AMP HTML. Do you see the future in this technology?
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is a new age in email. So I'll give you an example. So before that, any platform that wanted to bring a personalized experience to their customers, they had to build email in the moment of sending and personalize it in the moment of sending. And they really didn't have much chances to change this message afterwards. So for example, you open my offer a week later, and quite often it's not relevant because probably the product is out of stock. Probably the discount is not working anymore. Probably I have my prices changed, and absolutely different offer is actual now. With AMP for email, you can personalize message in the moment of opening and in the moment of interaction. So you can actually send message empty, but fill it with actual offerings in the moment of opening. So it will be always relevant, always time bind to what's really important now. So yeah, I believe this is like very cool technology. It's already supported by almost half of the, like, look, Google, Microsoft, Yahoo, and Mail.ru, they all together have 48% of all boxes in the world. Like, if only Apple could join them, it would like really change the game like forever.
Absolutely agree. So, Alex, thank you very much for joining. I wish very luck and to achieve your goal and goals for eSputnik.com. I wish you a lot of new and successful customers, and many greetings to Ukraine, and stay healthy. Thank you.
Yeah.
We have 200 attendees watching us live. So this virtual applause
Thank you
for
for
you.
your